8:43 here on your Wednesday. Thanks for waking up with BT, Sid Sixero, and Meredith Shaw with you. That's not us, Sid. We're not working out. We're sitting on the couch right now.
I know that's not me.
We're virtual.
No.
Virtual working out. With Thanksgiving approaching, we are grateful for the food and the festivities, but we're not excited potentially for the family fights. So here with tips to keep the peace this holiday season is relationship expert and friend of the show, Dr. Jess O'Reilly.
Good morning.
Morning, Dr. Jess.
Are you
Help us
excited
out.
for Turkey Day?
Yeah, yes, I am. It's a nice time to gather, right? Bring people together.
Yeah.
But when you bring people together,
Sometimes there's fights.
sometimes things happen.
Sometimes things go
not
awry.
Just the wishbone.
Dr. Jess, how do you navigate that? Let's start big picture. What would you say?
Well, okay, so first of all, I think we have to realize that we're not alone. So the data suggests that around 31.5% of Canadians are more stressed out around gathering with family over the Thanksgiving or Turkey Day season. That doesn't mean that we don't want to. We're still very excited to do it. But we have to remember that there's kind of deep grooves when it comes to, for example, family feuds, right? It's not like you're arguing about what's happening right now, right here and now. It tends to be something that goes back in history, right? We can all think of a dynamic in our family where it goes back years or decades, in some cases even generations. And so I think we have to think about what can we do to lead with empathy? And I know that sounds a little bit abstract, but if you're in the feud, I always suggest before you get together with that person who maybe triggers you or you have a low trigger point for them, what do I see in this person that perhaps I see in myself? What is it about their situation that I could be a little bit more empathetic toward? And I like to kind of go into the scenario. But the other side is, I don't know if you're ever in this situation or if you want to say, sometimes we're the bystander, right? Right? We're the bystander to the feud, and this is where maybe I can be a little bit guilty, where you think you can come in as a savior, you think you can come in and solve it for
Especially
people.
Dr. Jess. If Dr. Jess is part of your family, you're like, okay, everybody sit down.
I'm probably
we're
the
gonna work
source of the
this out.
problem.
Yeah.
I think I cause a bigger problem because I have no actual training yet feel the same way. I can fix everything.
Dr. Sid.
That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of us do want to fix things, and sometimes we have to back off. If you're the host, you can kind of think about things ahead of time. How can I plan shoulder-to-shoulder activities as opposed to face-to-face? Because those face-to-face interactions can feel intense, highly intimate, highly vulnerable. So, assigning people roles ahead of time can help. But again, it's not your job to be the peacekeeper.
I've never thought of shoulder-to-shoulder activity. I'm going to think of
Everyone
things differently.
just on one side of the table.
Shoulder-to-shoulder activity.
No one sees anyone else on the other side.
Now, it's like how the French do it, right?
Yes,
It's all
exactly.
on the sidewalk. So one thing that happens, though, sometimes when you get together with family, maybe you don't see them all the time, and then you do, and they have maybe good intention, but there are a lot of comments coming at you, judgments about your body, about your relationship status, about anything and everything. Kids.
When are you going to have kids?
Yeah,
when are you going to have another
When are you
kid?
going to get married, Meredith? You and Rod have been engaged forever. When are you getting married?
And am I invited to the wedding?
Right.
That's a whole other conversation. So yeah, that's actually a really good point, that when people are making comments, we often have to prepare for it. So if you know that this is something that happens in your family, one of the best, I think, tactics is to enlist the support of allies ahead of time. So if you have a cousin, if you have a sibling, if you know your auntie is going to make a specific comment, can you say in advance to your cousin, listen, when auntie says ABC, would you mind standing up for me with XYZ? Or would you mind leading me out of the room? Or would you mind changing the subject? Because what I want in terms of what support looks like for me may be different for you. So if I can give a very specific formula, ABC, when that happens, I'm looking for XYZ. And so to plan ahead can be helpful. And you can limit your time. And also we do have the right to opt out as well.
For sure.
It's a good thing to say.
Got about a minute.
Uh-oh.
Traditions compared to people who don't care about traditions and want to break them, because that gets tricky too.
Yeah, I think that has to do with family history, right? So we have this idea that this has been done for so long in my family, therefore we must replicate it in my new family. But I think in terms of couples, sometimes you want to think about creating your new traditions, and also sometimes you can celebrate separately. Like if you just don't agree on these things, you can obviously respect what your partner needs and what they value, but also you don't have to do every little thing together.
And we didn't even talk about blended families. We got to bring you back for that. That's a whole other thing to be navigating. Dr. Jess, you're fantastic always. Where are we following you online? More tips from Dr. Jess?
HappierCouples.com.
Jess, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Turkey Day to you too. Thank you
Thanks
so
for doing
much.
this.
Thank you.